Now, because the president, that was the video that did well. The president of Moldova said that if there was a referendum regarding the reunification of Moldova and Romania, she would vote yes. She would vote yes 100%, because Moldova and Romania historically have been one country, and because of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, the part of the country that is now Moldova has landed in the Soviet Union, and after the fall of the Soviet Union, that part has become an independent country, Moldova. And of course, Russia has carved out Transnistria out of that region, out of that country. And now there has always been discussion about reunification, and now this conversation has once again gained traction because of the grown dangers from Russia, because the danger from Russia is bigger than it has been in a long time. There is renewed interest, it seems, on both sides when it comes to the idea of reunifying those two countries to become one again. So soon after the president of Moldova said that she would vote yes in a referendum like that, the Romanian prime minister says he would also vote yes for unification with Moldova in a referendum, which makes it not just, oh, Moldova is starting to discuss reunification and the interest is growing. No, it seems like this kind of interest is on both sides, which makes me actually question, which makes me ask, is it possible that sooner or later this will actually happen? Because as much as this is just talk right now, as much as this is just two high-level politicians floating the idea that if there was a referendum, they would vote yes, according to some polls, this also has a lot of tractions with the citizens of Moldova, at least. Depending on the type of polling you make, you apparently see up to 50% of Moldovan citizens being in favor of such a reunification. And it would make sense definitely from the security standpoint. It does, it seems, at least with the Romanian prime minister. I don't know of any polls among the citizens of Romania itself, but the fact that the Romanian prime minister openly said that he would vote yes for unification is, in my mind, a pretty big deal, because on a political level, it shows interest on both sides. I'm pretty sure that this article will mention some numbers when it comes to polls among Romanians. So let's see. The Romanian Prime Minister, Ilie Boloyan, said on Tuesday that he would vote in favor of unifying Romania with neighboring Moldova if the issue were ever put to a referendum. Boloyan made the comments in an interview with French radio station RFI after being asked about recent statements from Maia Sandu, the Moldovan president. Sandu, who leads Moldova's pro-European government in Chisinau, said in a podcast earlier this month that she would support reunification if the question reached voters. And also there is this very aggressive rhetoric from Russia about this topic, that Moldova is trying to take over, Romania is trying to take over Moldova, is that Moldova is actually already preparing for a reunification by changing the name of the language from Moldovan to Romanian, etc., etc. Asked about Sandu's position, Boloyan said her remarks were in line with her record saying since taking office. He said her statement only confirms the attitude she has had all these years since she has been the president of the Republic of Moldova. It is an attitude of confirmation of what she has done in this position, doing everything possible for Moldova to develop, to be a safe country, a European country. Yes, because as we know, if Moldova would actually reunify with Romania, with that would come joining alliances that it's not a part of right now. It would come with certain security guarantees that Moldova does not have right now. He said, and this means, first of all, a path to Europe through Romania, to European Union. It would mean that Moldova would find itself in the European Union basically overnight. Just bam, right? When asked how he would vote in a referendum held in Romania on unification, Boloyan replied, in the circumstances in which the issue of such a referendum would arise in our country, I would vote yes. And this is interesting because this has been a topic when it comes to Ukraine as well at some point early in the invasion. There was a topic of Poland and Ukraine possibly joining to create a single country that would have a totally different name, a totally new capital, and that it would mean that Ukraine, without any hustle, would just be in the European Union overnight. Romania, a member of the European Union and NATO, is one of Moldova's strongest supporters as the former Soviet Republic seeks closer ties with the West. And again, this would be a fast track to security for Moldova. And there is a very real increasing security risk to Moldova when it comes to the Russian Federation. Many have speculated that Moldova would be next after Ukraine. Moldova, a country of around 2.4 million people located between Romania and Ukraine, has faced sustained pressure from Russia, including disinformation and attempts to influence elections. You have Moldova. Sandu also for unification. Sandu's comments earlier this month drew wider attention. She told the podcast The Rest is Politics, if we have a referendum, I would vote for the unification with Romania. She added that it was becoming increasingly difficult for a small state like Moldova to survive as a democracy, as a sovereign country, and of course, to resist Russia. Moldova was part of Romania from 1918 until 1940, when it was annexed by the Soviet Union. It declared independence in 1991 after the collapse of the USSR. In 2024, Moldovans narrowly backed joining the EU with 50.4% voting in favor of membership in a referendum that authorities said was affected by Russian interference. Sandu won re-election and a parallel presidential vote with around 55%, defeating a pro-Russian candidate. Because Russia always meddles in the elections of the countries that it considers to be in the Russian sphere of influence. Despite expressing her personal support for unification, Sandu has said that the idea does not currently enjoy majority backing at home. Surveys show roughly 2/3 of Moldovans oppose unifications, although support is traditionally higher in Romania. So it seems like there is actually traction for this idea in Romania itself that is bigger. I have heard many different accounts. I have seen different varied polls as to how the Moldovan people are opinionated when it comes to the rejoining with Romania. And we have to remember that as pressure from Russia continues, as the Russian aggression, hybrid warfare, as it's being redefined by the United States as a manageable threat, as the United States is planning to move troops away from Romania, we have to take into consideration that the opinions in Moldova when it comes to reunification might change still, since the ever-looming threat of Russia is only growing bigger as time goes on, it seems. I do not know if it will lead to any more substantiated any more serious moves towards reunification. I cannot tell you if Moldova and Romania will ever reunify to be a single country. But again, the fact that the topic is being seriously discussed at such a high level of government makes me feel that this is worth covering, that this is worth discussing, that this is worth deliberating about. I don't think this is just something that can be brushed off as something that will definitely never happen. This could very well happen if the circumstances were right, depending on how Russia chooses to continue with its international policy.